and pull the sky back into your shrubs or your trees on the horizon, you just want to make sure those are dry before you do that, or you'll get muddy sky. But since I have that yellow here, I can kind of create some, oh, no, I better wait. It's not dry. So I'll end up with some green sky. Okay, so we'll give that a minute. Let's see. Oh, sky holes in our tree. That's something we can work on. So this is probably drier now. Let's create some little interesting negative spaces with our sky blue. So let's white and a smidge of blue to make that same blue we used in the sky. Maybe a little bit darker. Not much. A smidge. And acrylic paint dries darker than it looks. So once you think you've mixed and matched the exact color, it'll probably dry darker than you intended. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so we're going to just sneak in here with some sky holes. We're going to open up this canopy, and you want to space them irregularly, different shapes, different sizes. There might be a few more out towards the edge of your tree. There might be more openings. But this is another way to create the shape of your tree. And if your sky holes end up looking kind of awkward, you can just paint them back in with your tree color. So you can go back and forth until it looks tree-ish. And the best thing to do if you don't know what a tree looks like is pull up some on your computer or phone or whatever and really look at trees and see, I've got this little group right here. It looks very artificial. So I've got to change that. I'll open that up a little more. And where else would it make sense to have some openings? Of course, if your sky is yellow back here, then you'd have to switch up your color and switch to a yellow sky hole. So you want to match your sky behind it. And then you could even just kind of just scumble along the edges of it, assuming it's the same color as the rest of your sky. Let's see, maybe one right here. And then I have to squint at it and go, well, that's not what I was going for. So what do we want to do? Okay, which ones want to stay and which ones need to go away? Let's see. Let's have this be kind of an opening. Oh, that was wet green paint. Oops. And some of these you can stick branches and that helps too. Back to green, tree green, which in this case uses a lot of purple. Okay, so maybe some of these are a little much. But like I said, you can easily come back in and fill them in. Since I'm working from my imagination, I'm a little more indecisive. If I was looking at something, it would probably help. But for this, I thought I'd just try to do a simple little landscape. And that means I have to remember what sky holes look like in a tree. It's always better when you're looking at a reference. And I do have a photo here with some trees that might be helpful, I would imagine. So some of these are more open. Let's see if I can get some paint on my brush. Okay, maybe more like like that, and then maybe one over here that's pretty big. And because I'm going back and forth, I'm making mud, so I've got to stop. Okay, we'll stop there and come back. This is dry. Let's brighten up our field some more. Big brush, yellow, a little green, and that's going to be a nice, intense, very bold spring green. Let's get that on. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. This is the third layer. And that's a good spring green. That was just bright yellow with green. Probably put a little bit of that up here in the tree too. Okay. And make sure I get close to my trunk and in between the trunks if I can with that brush. I can always switch to a smaller one if that's not really working. Okay, and now in my foreground, I think I'll have some brown and gold. See, and that's just not showing up, so I've got to do something. So I'm going to go darker, I think. I'll go darker, so I'll do brown and purple. Because I need these brush strokes to be obvious. And I think part of this truly is my lighting. I've got just this amazing glare going on. Let's see here. Okay, and then I will use that same color lightly in the shadow area just to suggest the grasses there. But you can still see all that purple. And I want to put a little highlight on my trunks too. First, I guess I will fill in that limey green grass back here with a smaller brush. So you see the distinct trunks. That helped. Oh, look at that. That green showed up. Okay. Let's do gold, yellow ochre on the trunks to give them a little light on the left side. So we'll just kind of do a broken line along here on the left sides of those trunks. I'll pull it down into that shadow. There we go, and that's supposed to be a branch, I think. Right there. It's not looking like one. Okay. Now then, I'm just going to make a lot of different colors of grass in the foreground. So we'll have just plain brown. Let's see what that does. Ooh, that's really bold. Might have been a little bit much. But I'll blend it back in with some greens. It's a reddish brown, so it works for earthy landscapes. And then we'll go back to our limey green, which is yellow and green. Let's pull some. That's pretty, and that helps blend out some of that brown. So if we want short grasses, we should start with a layer here and then come in and do another layer below that and have them overlap a little bit. If I just do one long brush stroke, then it's going to look like it's really long grasses. So I want to break it up. And I'll turn the brush sideways right here and get some suggestions of some longer grasses. That's kind of working. All right, so I think I'll do the same thing in our shadowy area. I still need it to not just be pure purple. There would be a suggestion of some grass color in that purple. Not just purple. It's good shadow, but you can use a little help. There. Let's see what we think. I think that I'm going to mix up some of that limey green that's on the back field. Ooh, that was a lot of green. Let's get it more to the yellow. And really, look at that. I just want to streak some of that through there. Maybe not cover the whole field, but man, that's good spring green. And of course I want some of that in my tree. That may be too much, but I'm just playing now. Light, 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 light. It may not be too much. It's kind of pretty. You know, and yeah, we talked about yellows and reds and oranges in your trees too, how that complements the green. There's a lot of purple showing, which is good for shadow. And maybe even a little, just good old yellow through here while it's wet. Just drag some yellow. That's pretty, and I'm going to pull it down into here a little more. And you do want to get it, those really nice pops of color between your trunks. Yeah. Okay. So maybe some more green grasses in our foreground. I don't know if that's dry enough to play with yet. I guess I could put some branches. Okay, so I want a really dark color, and I don't have black on my plate. So I'm going to take my darkest colors, my purple, my blue, and my green is really dark, and my red is pretty dark. So when I put all four of those together, I should get something very dark. I'll put a little brown in there. Still just looks purple. It just looks purple. Okay. There we go. So I'm just trying to make a really nice dark color that I can then come back in here and maybe paint in a branch. And I'm using a flat brush that I can lay on its edge to hopefully get a thin line. But in some of those sky holes, it might make sense to see a branch showing. And maybe even a branch outside the canopy. Every once in a while. Okay. So we added in a branch here and there. Still probably don't like this group of sky holes. Let's knock a couple of them out and see if that helped. It still looks kind of artificial. We're just trying to create the illusion of a tree. So now we're about ready for our little wildflowers, although we do need some brighter grasses. We talked about that. So let's do some blue and purple for shadow colors, because as you're the closer the subject is to you, the more intense the shadows are, the deeper the colors are. So it wouldn't hurt to throw in a little darker shadows down here. And so I'm just using a flat, light brush stroke to create some nice shadow in these grasses that are close to us. And while I'm at it, I might try to give these guys an edge back here. Every once in a while. Okay. Where are you? Oh yeah, you're fine. Okay. And then we need some just green grass. Spring green grass. So let's throw some of that in there. That's bold. Don't have to do a lot of that. I can do a little bit. Well, we have grass. We have grass. Now we need flowers. Ooh. I'm putting a little suggestion of grass there. That's probably too loud. It looks... So I'll dry off my brush. Oops. Pick up some purple. I don't have any paint on my brush. There we go. And soften that. Well, now I'm making a mess, y'all. Now I'm just making a mess. Okay, let's forget that. Let's see. Purple, blue. There, that's better. Okay. And then for our wildflowers, let's do lots of colors. Actually, we'll start with white. And our shapes are not truly flower shapes. They're just like little dabs of paint. And we want to be careful about the way we clump them so they don't look too patterned. You don't want to create little patterns. So we're just going to throw some in here, trying not to create too much of a pattern. Oh, those look so white. Okay, so let's tone them down a little bit with some blue. Maybe even a little purple. They feel too loud, don't they? Okay. So let's do a little, yeah, there we go. Just kind of come along at the bottom of that little white mark and give it a shadow under there, because that was really loud in a not good way. So that's a little better. That gives it some shadow shape, and then we'll just throw some purple ones in there. And then what else? Let's do some yellow ones. I think yellow is always pretty. So I'll mix some white and yellow together. And we'll just do little dabs of yellow. It'll be a smaller flower, and maybe they're clumped. Some here. Maybe some back here in the shadow area. It's real light. Where else? How about a pink? Oops, yeah, that's a good color. It's kind of got a little purple in it, so, and a little yellow. I just mixed everything, so it makes a peachy color. That's nice. I'll just do a few of those. Now they look really like I lined them up, which is not the goal. So I've got to break up that. They just look kind of linear, which is not what we want. So I've got to go back with my grass color. And knock some of those out. And just put them behind some grass. Yeah, I'm almost just painting them out because they looked a little not what I wanted. Yeah. Dilemma. I'll just come in with some really bright grass. And maybe that will knock some of them back into the grass. I think I want to use a bigger brush to do that though. Instead of getting these little wispy things. Right here. Okay. Let's go back to the white flowers, tinted with a little purple. And let's just kind of clump them more like you wouldn't see individual flowers. Well, yeah, that's making a little more sense. We might still do a few little yellows. Come back in here. And even a little bit of grass. Oh, that's way too bright though. So I need to get my dull grass color, which means adding red to green and purple to darken. And well, I think we have sort of a field of wildflowers. I might do a little more of a pink on some of these. And make sure I think maybe a little more yellow on this field back here, just because I keep trying to brighten it. And that definitely brightened it. Probably too much. I always go too far. Okay, I'm going to paint right-handed and tone that down. Maybe. There's no paint on my brush. Well, that's a bright field now. Okay, so maybe I could use a little bit of that limey green again, right up front. Sure, why not? Just here and there. We're not doing stems to our flowers. They're far enough into the grass that we wouldn't necessarily see individual stems. So, but we did put it. Now that's a little too patterned. And here we go. There we go. I didn't quite get to the bottom of my canvas because of the easel. Come back in here and fix that. But that's not a big deal. Okay, so boop, 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 boop. I think we're really close to being done. I may go ahead and do a little more light on my tree on the light side. I feel like I can use a little more yellow sun hitting that. So I'll use the yellow ochre and the yellow. And get something, oh yeah, that's good. Give it a little hint of more light. Remembering to keep this side darker because it's in the shadow. And I think we did a happy little painting. I think we're going to call that a little spring landscape painting. What do you think? We are finished. Ooh, look at that glare. Okay, let's get rid of that. Oh, we still got glare. That's better. Oh, back it up. There's our happy little landscape. Our trees on the horizon are kind of a dull purpley gray green, so they don't come forward too much. And our tree is, I don't know, I still feel like maybe it could have a little more light, but I think that gets the point across. Nice shadow under the tree. And I hope that you get to paint along and send me pictures. And thanks for following me. Bye.